Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
This is the MyFX book on my conservative account. As I mentioned, we started this account in August. This account started originally at 0.01 per 3,000 lot size balance. And middle of September, I said that's a little too conservative, even though in 1 month, we did 4%. I mean, we had almost no drawdown. And I said, I think we can bump the lot size up a bit. And we've successfully done that. Now, I have told you guys with the red folder news events that have been happening that 0.01 per 2,000 might be more reasonable in the current time because there's a lot of red folder news and different things. And the markets have been weird and trending a lot lately. But when we talk about average trade length, a lot of people say, how long am I going to be in trades? And I'm going to show you guys a lot of examples because I know some people are new on this call. Some people watching this recording will be newer. And some people watching the next call are, as I have a call right after this going over how to switch off of, one of our products. You guys may have seen an announcement today that we are discontinuing our relationship with one of our vendors for a product known as Einstein and Alexander, as well as Eris. And, some people may have a lot of questions that are switching to GearBox or any of our other softwares. And I want to talk about the trade length thing, because this is something that's very important for people to understand is when you're using an expert advisor, your goal is to beat the top performing hedge funds in America. And when I say top performing, I mean public ones, the ones that actually report their numbers. And on average, it's 55% a year. All right, so we're going to take a look here. This is an account I started in August. I told you in August, I ran it ultra conservatively until the middle of September when I really said, okay, we can definitely increase these lot sizes. And we went to 0.01 per 1,000. As well, I told you could go to 0.01 per 2 to be a little more conservative or 0.01 per 3 to be super conservative. But you can see the only time this thing's gotten in the higher drawdown, multiple pairs were actually correlated. If you're new and you don't know what correlated means, we will touch on this very briefly. But this was 3 pairs that were correlated. And the simplest way to explain correlation is 2 pairs that are pretty much going to have identical movements in the market because they follow each other. So in this sense, what happened is we actually got into 3 pairs, right? Because we're allowing 3 maximum to trade. We're scanning all the majors and minors, but we're allowing 3 maximum to take a trade at the same time. And the 3 that took a trade at the same time all got correlated. We actually took a loss. This account went from 63% down to 57. Okay, what if that was someone's, first week with GearBox? Okay, that could have sucked. But again, we need to talk about the long term. Losses are inevitable. They're going to happen. This is trading. We're not always going to be up, 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 and up. There's going to be times where losses occur. So expectations need to be set right. Now, same thing with trade length. This was a trade that was open from February 2nd to February 26th. Okay. We're talking about a 3-week period and losses during that period. These losses were taken actually on February 24th. So imagine getting in drawdown on February 2nd, being in drawdown all the way until the 24th. Okay. So you're talking about 3 weeks of drawdown, not making any money, taking losses for 3 weeks. You're hitting stop losses. And then the next 2 weeks, you swing into profit higher than your last high. You see that? So I'm really educating on this because I want to set the expectations right. I know there's some new people watching this call, and I know there's some people that are maybe new to our products or maybe just new to GearBox in general. There's going to be times where things like this happen, right? But this was a 3-week trade setup that resulted in more profit than where we were at. Did it result in a higher drawdown? Absolutely. But did it handle it? Yes. Now, here's some more drawdown. We got out of that trade setup. We get into new trade setup. March 2nd. We don't get out of that trade setup until March 23rd, maybe March 24th. Look at that. Another 3 weeks of drawdown. Not high drawdown, but boring drawdown. I call this boring. Now, some people call GearBox boring because even though it's making money, it's not a very hyperactive EA. It's taken since August 3rd on this account. And keep in mind, this is a swing account. If you're running sniper, you're going to be taking even less trades than this. Because again, let's touch on this real quick for those of you who are new. This is where we're entering the market. Blue is swing, sniper, red super sniper. All right. And these are different currency pairs that we run. The green's the best performing, the yellow are the worst performing, and the white are also good to run. But remember, swing's entering sooner. This account's only taken 187 trades. It's won 83% of them. But remember, 187 trades since August. If you were using the manual approval version of GearBox, one of the important things to understand is that doesn't mean you would have approved 187 trades. You would have approved 187 trade sequences. On average, GearBox has, I'd say 3 trades in a sequence. So understanding that means in 8 months, actually, I'm just going to use Google. 187 divided by 3. 62 trade opportunities in 8 months. Okay, so now look at this. That means on average, you would have approved 7.75% trade opportunities monthly, close to your actual gain. But the point is, you're not going to get that many trade approvals. Or if you're international, you're not going to get that many trades. This is not a lot of trades compared to some softwares people are used to. So you have to have some patience, but you have to understand that GearBox takes very precise and very analytical Andy, on the swing account, can you show how many of the trades did you close manually before TP? I'm going to be honest with you, Andy. I didn't start closing trades manually at all ever with GearBox until like really the last 2 months because of all the trending that's happened. I normally always let things go to their TP, but with the last 2 months with, the market's trending a little bit more, I've been changing it. Like, and to show you guys a more aggressive account, because we'll talk about that, really, I've been starting to be a little more proactive when using Ghost plus Real or even double TP on closing out some trades manually sometimes, because there was periods where we got into higher drawdown. Like this is an example of a very aggressive account. And I want to show you this because I want to show you that even though it got in higher drawdown, it took a loss like a champion. It did not blow the account. It maintained the drawdown with some of the features GearBox has. And if you're new, I will share some of those features in 1 second. But let's talk about that. This account was just crushing it out of the park, never getting any drawdown, was, up 80, I'd say about 75% before we ever saw real drawdown. And what happened is into these, past few months, there's been some major trending moves where multiple pairs that are correlated went the same direction. And since this account was running 6 pairs at once on a $1,500 balance, keep in mind, that's pretty risky if you really were to understand it. But I call it like moderately aggressive because GearBox has some great risk management protocols, but it was able to maintain this drawdown and not really let it increase past this point, hold it and get out of all of it. But it took close to 3 months, including a loss. So we were just talking about expectations. This is a more aggressive strategy. It was crushing and crushing and crushing it. Imagine if somebody came in right here. How exciting would that have been? They're making money, they're making money, they're making money. They're just in drawdown, boom, they take a loss. Okay, but let's look at the long-term strategy again. EAs go through cycles. In this account, August made 14%, September 15%, October 11, November 17. And I haven't changed the settings, keep in mind. I know some people is like, oh, why is there this month that hit it out of the park and this one that didn't? No, like these are the settings I've been running. As an EA developer, I'm not a big fan of changing settings on accounts because you can't really give people real accurate data when you're really hands-on with an EA. I want to show people what something looks like with little management, but just understanding the markets. January, we didn't make any money. February, we lost money. April, look at that. We're already getting back into, kind of making the kind of gains we were in 2020, but so far in 2021, the market's been a little iffy. things have been trending. There's been a lot of political unrest, especially around the US election and a lot of the original stuff that was going on where, there's lots of claims of voter fraud and manipulation. And, I'm not going to get into politics on this call, but the point is, we're hitting it out of the park, and you get a little upset countries and political volatility. And, sometimes things just trend a little bit. And can you show the same stats for previous account? Yeah, great question, Andy. So if we go to my 10K swing account here, we actually profited every month so far in this one. There were no losing months. As I told you, August, I was running it way too conservatively. September ran it. October, even with swing and conservative 3 max pairs, I mean, this thing hit it out of the park. Pretty incredible. I mean, they were doing the same. And you go to 2020 and things have been a little bit slower, but look, they're heating up. You see the stats are pretty similar across the other accounts. February and March were pretty boring. April, we're getting back into the game. But from when we started, in November and December, I mean, people were hitting it out of account. Can you see sniper account? Unfortunately, the only one I have is highly aggressive too. Is running 6 max pairs, and it also got into some higher DD, but it was crushing it until that period as well. And then it got into some multiple correlated trending pairs that it's been getting in and out of right now, making some profit. But this one as well was running 6 max pairs. It was also running the worst performing pairs, the JPY pairs. But this account has won 85% of trades. It's taken 210. So it's actually taken a little more, but that's because this one's running 6 max pairs. So if you were only running 3, let's say half of that. And this account's actually been running since June. So imagine only taking, if you were running 3 maximum pairs on Sniper, imagine only taking like 100 trades since June. That's kind of the point I want to get across, is like, you're really not going to take a lot of trades. They're going to be much more precise, but if something trends against you still, same concept's going to happen. And if we look here, this went through a very similar market cycle as well. July and August, I actually had this account off though. So this wasn't for market cycle. This was when I first started in June. I hit it out of the park, and then I actually had some ideas and we made some enhancements to GearBox. And that's when I actually changed things, because if you look in June, I was actually only trading these 3 pairs still. And then I actually, in July, I came up with many features that are a part of GearBox today that did not exist back then. Such features as the ability to run and scan 24 pairs, right? So now you can see here, this is where we actually started testing the strategies of being able to run more and more currency pairs, and having the different entries and having, the max pairs feature. Back in June, there was no max pairs feature. You just had the level shifter. So we just continued to add more risk features, and then added balance protection, and balance protection has been a lifesaver. But like I said, the market cycles since 2021 were definitely a little slower, and I've seen it with all of the products right now. And that's just the market sometimes, but you go through cycles where we're starting to switch back up and heat back up here in April. But again, this was a riskier account that was running, but it still crushed it. It was actually, it never experienced 12% drawdown to correlation. Now let's talk about correlation, because correlation is what causes drawdown. So I want you guys to understand how to avoid drawdown. And one of the things we've been working on to make sure things like this never occur. And when I say never occur, I can't say never, but most of the time you're never going to see something like this, because what is causing this is correlation. Now, correlation is a very advanced feature, and we'll go right here and we'll talk about it. So essentially what correlation is this is when, okay, so we're going to look at all the ones highlighted here, and I'm going to educate you guys on something that most people never do understand, but that is the correlation between different currency pairs. So in this case, if we look at AUD USD and GBP NZD, right now in the current time, this correlation says that if I'll give you an example. If AUD USD goes up, GBP NZD is going to go down. That's essentially what this is saying right now, because we're more than 85% correlated. But you can see that this changes over time. At the beginning of April, this wasn't but 40% correlated. So these numbers are constantly changing. So this is one of the features we've been trying to build into GearBox, is a way to pull this data, or we even manually will have to update this data ourselves every 2 weeks just to start. But we built a filter that's going to be coming in one of the next versions of GearBox to prevent what will happen in this case is, let's say you enter a trade on AUD USD. And let's say, for example, you entered a buy on AUD USD. If GBP NZD went to enter a sell, it's going to block it. Now, you might be asking why. Well, because if AUD USD was to trend against you and GBP NZD was to trend at the same exact time, you're now getting in double the drawdown. But we're not going to block both of these from trading at the same time. We're just going to block them from trading at the same time in the same direction because they're negatively correlated. So if AUD USD entered a buy, GBP NZD goes to enter a sell, it's going to block the sell. But if GBP NZD wanted to buy, it would allow it. So that's an example of negative correlation. Now, if we go to positive correlation, we'll take AUD USD and Euro USD, for example. Right now, in the current time, you'll see that AUD USD went from not really correlated at all with Euro USD to extremely correlated in the current time. So in understanding that, if AUD USD went to enter a buy and Euro USD went to enter a buy, it's going to block one of them from entering a buy and say you can only enter a sell. Now, it's not going to force the sell, but it's going to block the buy. Now, if you're new, this might be more advanced than you can understand at the current moment. But all you need to understand for why this feature is important is because it's going to prevent you from getting into multiple pairs that are going to have the same effect, which is what increases your risk in situations like this where you hit higher drawdown. So our goal is to decrease the potential to ever get in high drawdown, but increase profitability. So that's going to be the correlation filter. And it's, like I said, it's a very advanced tool. We've been working on it for like a month and a half. We have it working now. What we're working on is figuring out how we're going to attack the numbers constantly changing, because we'd either just have to roll out constant updates, or we need to find a way to API that data in to the actual software. I'm going to read the questions here. Raj, sorry, mate, I'm running GearBox as we speak from Monday. It just started a real trade on NZD CAD currently. Is this common? I'm running Sniper with 3 max pairs. Sorry, new to this. Yep, that's perfectly normal, my bud. There's probably weeks, and I'm going to be honest with you, if you're on Sniper, there might be a week you get no trades. There might be another week where you literally breach all 3 of your max pairs, and there's 3 other pairs that could be entering trades, but you've deployed your 3 max. So you just got to understand the long-term mindset with using this product is you're not going to get a lot of trades, but the trades that you get are typically going to be very precise. Now, can it be boring if it takes you a week to get a trade and then the next 2 weeks you're just in drawdown? That could be pretty boring, but when it swings and you make all the profit, it's pretty awesome. And as we showed that right here in an outlook like this, imagine this was your first week. Imagine you come in, making money, drawdown, loss, back out of it, right? That could have been boring. And some people think that, this product is boring, but the results aren't boring. It's just, it's a patience type of product. And sometimes for a brand new retail user, that's a little boring. So I tell people, hey, have a GearBox. If you want to see a little more trades, have a second GearBox and get an intraday mode license, because you should always use precision mode as your first GearBox license. If you are just running intraday mode on GearBox, then that's okay. But I would really have a precision mode, because precision is what makes GearBox so special. Or just have a precision mode and get an Arrow account, man. If you want to be hyperactive trading, manually trade, play with Arrow, right? Arrow is such a cool tool. Andy said, I've run on swing this week and I'm AUD CAD, Euro CAD, USD CAD buys. It all seems correlation filter would stop this. Well, yeah, if we take a look at correlation, let's take a look at those pairs, Andy. It's a great question for you. Because remember, correlation's ever changing. So awesome, Tommy. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, the recording will be up later. You can finish watching there. All right, let's talk a little bit more about correlation. So Andy, you say AUD CAD, all right, and Euro CAD. So yes, you would not have been able to enter a buy on both of those. A correlation filter would have blocked whatever the second one was that entered. If we go to USD CAD and EuroCAD, nope, you would have been okay with EuroCAD. And AUD CAD is not on my top bar here. So hold on, let me remove column symbols, row symbols. I think this is the top one. Let me remove one of these. Yep, okay, and we wanted to add USD CAD in here. Where you at, USD CAD? You ever feel like you do this and you just pass it and you don't even see it? I actually don't even see it. It might only be down here. When will the correlation filter be added? Great question. We are, like I said, in the last part of really discovering how. USD CAD's on this part, but I need it up here. Oh, it is already up there. Am I blind? What was I looking for? And we were looking at CAD and USD CAD. Nope. Yep. You would have been good on that. So really only one of those would have been blocked, Andy, in the current time. But you got to keep in mind also this correlation changes. How recently did this change? Because in this case, we're like I said, we're trying to figure out how we're going to integrate the correlation filter with data constantly changing. Unless we find a way to API in this data, we have to update this either every 2 weeks or even every week with how constant it changes. I mean, like, look at this. It made a jump in a week from not correlated at all to like 40% correlated. So, and then by 2 weeks, I mean, it was 72+%. So this data constantly does change. And that's the big, hiccup we've been trying to figure out in how to really add this filter. This is a very advanced feature, but this is the kind of feature that's going to make GearBox the most rock star product on the market. So we've been hard at work at it, and I'm excited for it, definitely. Even without it, the product's phenomenal. As you see, we're crushing it. But this is just one of those extra safety mechanisms, and we're constantly adding safety mechanisms. We talk about it all the time. Here's this 10K account that I'm showing you guys right there. Well, now it's 14. We've taken some withdrawals even. We'll go to account history just to show you guys. So you can see this account took its first trade on 8/3. And so August 3rd, and here it is. This is that account running right now. It's in 2% drawdown, not really anything, but it's running. But I want to talk about some of the risk management, right? So, what are our saving grace features? Well, we have balance protection mode at 25% drawdown. We're never going to take another trade. So even in some of those more aggressive strategies, balance protection is going to be put like that chill out mode. It's kind of like just stop, don't take another trade, wait it out. You also get notifications of drawdown at 10 and 20. You can also change these numbers. These are kind of your defaults. And play around with anything you want. And I mean, the big thing to also cover is can we work on smaller balances? And let's talk about that. Somebody asked to see the one pair data here. So we'll pull that up. We're going to organize it by profitability first. So GBP CAD's been the most profitable. If we go to absolute gain, AUD CAD's been the most biggest winner, needs to be added to the best performers list. You'll see that GBP USD is next up, GBP AUD, GBP NZD. You'll see many of these are crushing it out of the park. And then you'll see the worst performers, right? We talked about it. USD JPY, NZD JPY. I mean, in CAD JPY and AUD JPY completely blew a $500 account on their own, one pair. So we obviously consider those worst performers. NZD JPY and USD JPY, on the other hand, they didn't blow the account, but still, it's just, you don't want to be trading the JPY pairs. They tend to just trend, and when they trend, they trend. AUD CAD, somebody wants to see here. Let's go take a peek. So AUD CAD's been a rock star. on this account. I mean, yeah, it's definitely had a 22% drawdown, but this is a $500 account, we started with. But it has won 82% of trades. It's got 1,300 profitable pips. It's only taken 82 trades for that gain since October. And it's had a great profit factor. So, I can't complain. It's definitely hit it out of the park. November, 11%, December just by itself, 8%. I mean, February by itself it did 20%. And I mean, February was a somewhat slower month for some people. So you can see this one really did it. Actually, this account, this says it's AUD USD. Well, that's interesting. Well, it looks like AUD USD is actually the best performer. Is that actually, yeah, this account's actually an AUD USD account. That's fascinating. Well, good thing I never added AUD CAD to the best performer list because that one is not AUD CAD. Fascinating. Learn new things every day. This account is GBP NZD though. GBP NZD though has definitely been my favorite. I'm running an account that's just running GBP pairs. It's very conservative. It's running the 4 best performing GBP pairs. And when you really look at these GBP pairs, you'll see that the drawdown tends to stay low. The monthlies are pretty high and they're very consistent. Now they had slower months again, also the last 2 months, right? We look at November, we hit it out of the park. December, we hit it out of the park. January, okay. February is really slow. March, slow. April, it looks like this account hasn't taken a trade, so I need to tune back in on him, see what's going on. Which it's been slower months. I know my actual GBP NZD account here. This is this account. It's doing like 4% a month. Nothing crazy. If we lower the number of pairs open, will that affect GearBox? If you mean the max pairs trading at the same time, or are you saying if you actually close the currency pairs, meaning you're not going to scan? So are you talking about lowering your max pairs, Christian, or are you talking about actually deleting currency pairs? Okay, deleting currency pairs. Yeah, I would. That will definitely affect how many trades you get. It's going to be very, very slow. As you can see, this account's doing like 4% monthly. It's just running GBP pairs, but it's doing its thing. Even when a GBP pair did, swing against it, its worst trade was 113 pips here. Its best trade was 281. Pretty. Actually, is this prop? That's pips right there. Oh, yeah. Worst trade 147, best 287. Really 281. Incredible. It's only taken 2 lots for 10% gain on a larger account. Daniel, thanks for your videos. I've been watching almost all your YouTube videos. I'm wondering if you have the gear risk calculator. Absolutely. The gear risk calculator is right here. Let me just click the button. I just put the link in the chat, but I actually, hold on. Yeah, you're just going to be a viewer. Yep. You're just going to go ahead and make a copy of it. And now you have the calculator. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at the outlook for the next week as well. Let's talk a little bit about actual Forex Factory here, talk about what's going on. So you'll see this is May 1st through May 8th. This next upcoming week is definitely going to be one of those more volatile weeks. You'll see AUD has some news, red folder, talking about rate statements, cash rates. NZD has employment change and unemployment change themselves. We go to GBP, has a ton going on. We got policy statement, bank rate votes, purchasing facility votes for assets, monetary policy, asset purchase facility. I mean, GBP is going to be reporting a lot of information this week, which can actually be really good. This is probably means that the GBP pairs are going to get some solid trades because we need large movements on the GBP pairs. And we know that, right? If we look at the manager again, we're entering the GBP pairs on Sniper typically around gear 6 or 7, right? So if we understand that, and then we go back over here, oops, ignore that. I'm gonna have to edit that part out. Time check on that, 35 minutes in. All right. Forex factory and the simulation of pips. So if we take a look here, 6 or 7, we have 300 and 426. So we're in 300 pips or 426, no retracement before we're even going to actually enter a trade. That's just absolutely incredible to be able to do that. And we need that kind of news for that to happen here. So this should make some big moves in GBP and potentially get us some sniper moves. But I would tell you, understanding there's a lot of red folder news this week and people are looking for trades, that sniper might be the better move, or even running a 0.01 per 2000 would typically be my advice, because we also have CAD, unemployment and employment change as well. We have it for USD and non-farm payroll. If you guys know what NFP is, it's NFP week. I mean, pretty much all of the major countries here are reporting a lot of different numbers that affect the rate of their currency. So, and understanding that, you're going to want to make sure that you're on the more conservative side as well. Understand that GearBox likes red folder news. Typically, red folder news equals actually getting into trades for GearBox. So nothing to be scared about, but always wise to be on the more conservative side of the stick when there's a lot of red folder news and the correlation filter is not done yet. But with that being said, does anyone have any questions for me? Anything else you'd love for me to talk about? Go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'm here. I'm here to help you guys. So anything else you would like to see? Oh, you couldn't see the link for the calculator. I see why. Let me repaste now. There we go. The link for the calculator is in the chat. Go ahead and just make a copy. What TP are you using on swing accounts? Ghost plus real, Dominic. I'm always a ghost plus real type of person. I love double TP. Real trades only are awesome, but why I love ghost plus real is typically it's going to go for more profit in most scenarios. And worst case, like I said, I might just close the trades manually if I'm okay. If I look at my account and I'm in 2+% floating profit, and those trades aren't even near hitting their TP, I'm sometimes just like, I'm gonna take my 2% and walk, like, you got to understand what greed is too. Sometimes people get a little too greedy and, you're like, oh, but if I hold these, I'll make 5%. It's like, okay, or they could retrace back, right? And then you hold the trades for another 3 weeks. So sometimes I just take my money off the table, and it's never the worst thing. How can we decrease the risk in GearBox? Norman, great question. Easiest way to decrease the risk is to decrease your lot size and decrease your max pairs. Those are really the 2 ways to decrease risk with the current strategies. The other ways would be involved in going into the EA Academy, actually understanding the product on a deeper end. If you guys haven't tuned into the EA Academy, once you get done the AP Academy, you finish all your videos in the AP Academy, there's an EA Academy where I break down every single setting inside GearBox, how they affect other settings within GearBox, and really allow you to customize your experience as well. When is the best time to switch strategies? The best time to switch strategies is always going to be on the weekends. Typically Saturday, Sunday, right? When you make sure you're set up for the week is when you want to select your strategy you want to use for the week. And you typically don't want to make too many changes to your GearBox mid-week. You really want to avoid changing things. Get comfortable with your strategy, let it run through the week, and then change it. You can change midweek. It's just, it's not the most effective. The best time always going to be the weekend. When is the best time to add funds? I would say the same exact thing, Marlo. Best time to add funds also is going to be the weekend. But if you're going to add funds on a weekday, I would really only do it if you needed the funds in the account because you were doing something where you got yourself into an uncomfortable drawdown and you're trying to pad the account. That'd be the only reason I'd really add midweek. But same thing. I'd add funds on weekends, Marlo. Last call for questions. Going once, going twice. I know you guys got some questions. Go ahead and throw them in there. There's no bad questions. If you're new and you're afraid to ask a question, go ahead. Right here, I want to make sure everyone's educated. You go into the next week feeling comfortable, confident, and ready to crush it with GearBox. Also, if you're one of those people who maybe is coming over to GearBox from another product, such as a product we discontinued and made an announcement about today, being Einstein Alexander Aris products. Then we have another call in 20 minutes where I will be discussing how to switch off of that product to any product in our marketplace. Please go over the pairs to trade chart. Absolutely. So here's our pairs we're trading. Okay. Yeah, this is great. Lots of good questions coming now. Love when you guys ask questions. Awesome. So these are the pairs we're looking to trade. Now, the pairs in yellow, again, are the worst performing pairs. You're typically going to avoid the worst performers, and you're going to go ahead and run the best performers, right? So we want to totally avoid running the worst performing pairs and make sure that we are only trading the best performing pairs. There's a lot of questions coming in now. This is perfect. Hopefully I have enough time in the next 19 minutes to answer the rest of your guys' questions here. Brand new to GearBox, $800 account. What strategy would you recommend? I can't recommend you any strategy, but being you only have $800, I would firsthand tell you that if it was my $800, what I would do, and we'll show my FX book to back this. I love data. Let's go to the data. Data is my favorite. Here's a $250 account that was running Super Sniper since August, running one max pair trading and scanning the majors and minors here. And, it just broke 100% since August, only running one max pair. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go put Super Sniper on an $800 account. I'm showing you this to show you it can work on $250. It has. But if you are using an $800 account, if it was my money, I would run Sniper and two max pairs trading with a 0.01 lot size. That would be my precision strategy on an $800 account balance. What do you think the market will do in the next months, GearBox related? I don't have a crystal ball, Noah. If I did, I'd be a very wealthy guy. I do all right for myself, but if I could go back in time and have that crystal ball, let me tell you, I'd have a lot more Bitcoin. Raj, NZD Cat entered in a loss. I'm not sure what you mean, Raj, but if you mean that you entered the trade and it was immediately red, that's because there's spreads and Forex. And I would maybe tune into our Forex Academy for some more basic Forex understanding. Andy said, I want to let everyone here know I started GearBox in December. It's been great. Sometimes boring as I know it will be. Sometimes on the side, I've tried other products and it has cost me dearly. So my advice with GearBox, you found home. Andy, I appreciate that, brother. I tell people all the time, you can chase the shiny ball syndrome, but GearBox is a phenomenal product if you know how to use it and you understand it. I've been using softwares for years and I've taken the best of some of the products I've liked and I've taken what I've hated about products, and that's what's created GearBox, is just really studying a lot of different strategies, a lot of different methods. And what I love about GearBox is it's a more institutional trader. It's not as susceptible to manipulation. It's looking to catch a lot of pips, meaning that, with accurate entries, you really have a solid opportunity to get in winning trades. The one thing that would make GearBox even better than just the correlation filter would also be trailing stop losses on higher levels. And this is something we're still working to add because it only has them on gears 0 and 1, which most of you won't use unless you use intraday modes. And we really want to add them to the higher levels. And it's a very advanced feature as well. But correlation was first, and then after correlation, I think that's really my next big challenge is putting trailing stop losses on all levels. And Andy, you said it, and be on these calls every Friday. Yep, if you're using GearBox, be on these calls every Friday, and I promise you, you are going to have a phenomenal time. Always be educated and know what's going on in the markets. Do you change anything for the weekend? Like shut anything off, William? No, I don't change anything. I mean, these accounts run. I approve the trades, let it do its thing, and that's it. Norman, can you share the Zoom for the next meeting here? If you mean the switch call for those coming over from Einstein to want to switch to any of our products, including GearBox, that will be the next call. I will share the link here. Jared, hey, Tyler, I'm coming over from Einstein hopefully this weekend here on a 2K account running a 0.01 lot size. How many pairs should I run to remain conservative but not conservative, as you shown earlier in this call? Jared, awesome question. I would recommend in the next 15 minutes actually tuning in to the switch call. I'm going to talk about how you can switch over from Einstein to any product in our marketplace. As well, I'm going to show how GearBox can manage any current open Einstein and Alexander trades you may have, as well as how you can use new strategies in GearBox to finish those trades out and then have GearBox trade on a different strategy if you are wanting to use strategies like this precision one. But to answer your question briefly here on the call, Jared, I would tell you that you can actually run all of the pairs that are here that are not yellow. Don't run the yellow pairs. So you're going to actually open all these pairs. You're going to put the GearBox manager on and you're going to stick to the lot size you're using. And you're going to only allow 3 maximum pairs to trade at one time. So there's a setting, it's called max pairs trading at same time. You'll put it to 3. So it'll scan all of these for entries, but it's only going to ever allow 3 of them to take trades at the same time. Daniel, can I have your MyFX? If you mean the swing account, I think I need to verify a lot of these so they're fully public. Many of them aren't fully public because it's just a lot of work to verify 70 developer accounts. But if you're referring to this 10K one here, I'll go ahead and post the link right here. And that's my main dev account on Swing Strategy. Love that one. I see another question here from Demetrius. Plan to switch into GearBox and from Alexander. What is most conservative lot size for a 3K account? The best conservative is going to be 0.01 per 3K, but it's going to be too conservative probably for your liking. I'd stick to 0.01 per 2K or 0.01 per 1K if you have a little bit of a higher tolerance for risk, that is. Let's see. Noah, yeah, if you wish, right? I wish we all had more Bitcoin, right? Adrian, GearBox is amazing. Noah, yes, such an amazing tool, ability to personalize every setting. Correlation is going to really be amazing out of the software. It really will. The correlation filter is a very advanced feature, and so will trailing stop losses. Like I said, these are really some of my more advanced things to come. And then after that, there's a lot more on the list where there's things constantly being worked on behind the scenes to continue to enhance this product, make it better and better and better. Because yeah, I personally am going to tell every single one of you here, there is no software on the market that does not need updates for different market cycles. We go through many market cycles and there's going to be constant enhancements needed for any algorithm to continue to perform at a top tiered level through different market cycles. And you know, that's what we really bring to the table here with the GearBox development team is we're constantly just enhancing, looking at the data, looking at back data and just saying, how can we make this better? How can we improve experience? And the big thing is, how do we increase profit while decreasing risk? A lot of people, they do this a little backwards. They increase their risk to increase their profit. And that doesn't make any sense. So from our mindsets, we're always thinking, how do we decrease the risk but increase the profit? And sometimes that takes some very creative minds, but we've been doing it. Well, with that being said, I appreciate all of you. I don't see any more questions. As I said, this is a very volatile week. I would probably very much stick to 0.01 per 2,000. And if you're a really conservative user, 0.01 per 3,000. And I would not run more than 4 max pairs. I would stick to 3 ideally. If you're, doing 5, 6 max pairs, I would definitely lower it for this week and try to eliminate some pairs because it looks like one of those weeks we're going to have some fun red folders, which if you're not in any trades yet, this is going to be great for you because you're going to probably get some amazing trades this week. Because again, GearBox performs best when we have market movement and volatility because that's where it gets its entries and catches its reversals. But with that being said, thank you guys all so much for tuning in on this Friday morning with me.